Hello, I'm Andrew Friedman, Director and Senior Fellow of the Human Rights Initiative here at CSIS. And along with my colleague Anne Frederick, in honor of this International Human Rights Day, we want to talk about the important origins of this day and the state of human rights, freedom, and democracy in the world. Anne?
Today, on International Human Rights Day, we do not celebrate because we've succeeded in protecting all human beings and human rights worldwide. We know this isn't the case, and we know this goal hasn't been achieved at any point in history, even when the United Nations first established the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. International Human Rights Day is, however, a celebration that, across the globe, there's an ongoing fight to realize the goals of the UDHR and ensure that every human being, simply by merit of being human, has equal basic human rights and fundamental freedoms. Every year, International Human Rights Day is celebrated on December 10th on the anniversary of the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the UN General Assembly in 1948. The drafting of this declaration was precipitated by the atrocities of World War II and the Holocaust and was adopted before much of the world had recovered from the deadliest conflict in history. The document was written as a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations and asserts that all human beings are free and equal. The UDHR drafting committee had a mix of countries represented, with thinkers from Australia, Chile, China, France, Lebanon, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, as well as the United States. And the first draft of the declaration was proposed with over 50 member states participating in the final drafting. The Indian delegate Hansa Mehta, for one, was credited with the change of the famous first article of the UDHR from "all men are born free and equal" to "all human beings are born free and equal." This undertaking was groundbreaking, as it was an aspirational declaration for all. Even with Eleanor Roosevelt serving as the chairperson for the drafting committee, the United States had a lot to work up to. For one, despite the UDHR saying that all people have the right to marry without limitation due to race, it was nearly 20 years before that became national law in the US. Although today the UDHR is still aspirational and not fully realized, progress has been made in the last 70 plus years. And in the last 70 plus years, the UDHR has paved the way for the adoption of more than 70 human rights treaties, all of which have referenced the Declaration in their preambles. As we consider our global progress and the state of human rights in the world today, we should remember that the UDHR was never meant to be a purity test or reason to point fingers. It was written to illuminate the path forward. As Adlai Stevenson famously applied to Eleanor Roosevelt in his address at her memorial, she would rather light candles than curse the darkness.
2025 was a difficult year for human rights and democracy, and this continues trends that have been ongoing for some time. According to Freedom House, in 2024, as you'll see on the map behind me, freedom decreased globally for the 19th straight year. This stemmed from elections that were marred by violence and fraud, conflict, and other factors that kept people from asserting their political rights or otherwise exercising human rights like free expression and free assembly. Data from VDEM, another such database, tells a similar story for democracy. In 2004, more than half the world lived in democracies. According to VDEM, that number is now around 28% of the world's population. Civicus Monitor says 70% of the world now lives in closed or repressed countries. That means that 7 out of every 10 people in the world cannot freely exercise their human rights or participate in political and social structures that impact them. While these data sets have not come out for 2025, there's little reason to believe that they have changed for the better. In addition to these wider trends, the cuts to foreign assistance in the US and throughout much of the world have taken away a key source of resource for many of those fighting for human rights, freedom, and democracy across the globe. The ending of programs like Lifeline, which supported human rights defenders, have made it ever more difficult for those who are targeted to receive crucial, often life-saving support. So with all that, what gives us hope here at HRI? In 2 words, solidarity and ingenuity. Those fighting against human rights and democracy work together. They share tactics, they share strategies, they share resources. That means that those fighting for human rights democracy can and must as well. Activists documenting war crimes from Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine have learned a multitude of lessons from Syrian activists who saw those same Russian tactics over the last decade. That's just one example. This type of cross-learning continues across the globe. Even as resources shrink and governments step up their attacks and civic space closes, Human rights defenders are working together to push back. They're using new tactics. They're using new technologies. After all, as poll after poll shows, when people are given the option, people will consistently choose democracy over tyranny and human rights over oppression. To steal a line, what gives us hope is the countless brilliant and innovative people out there who are trying to light candles in the midst of all this darkness.